Hey there, Tracy here with another video, and this time it is for the Not Too Shabby Shop, and this is our November 2025 giveaway hop. In this video, I'm going to show you how I made this adorable bookmark, and we're going to be using a little shrink plastic. So it is a hop. I will have the hop playlist listed in the description box below. I hope that you'll hop along and take your chance to win $25 gift card from the Not Too Shabby Shop. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, so supplies you're gonna need. So I'm using this Saddle Up stamp set and the Cowgirl Charm papers. I've got a piece of craft paper. It's heavy craft paper. I've got my shrink sheets. I've got a clear acrylic block. I've got this special little tool. I've got a pen. I've got my alcohol markers. I've got my Stays-On ink. I've got some punches. So we're just going to make one bookmark today. And I've got these little tassels that I got on Amazon. I'll have everything linked down below. And then I have some little jewelry notions, so we'll grab some of those a little bit later, because we're going to need those for our charms. So I'm going to start out by making the bookmark itself. Couldn't be easier, friends, and you could just make this bookmark and call it done, and you can get a lot out of a 6x6 paper pad because they're only 2 inches wide, so you can get 3 out of each piece of paper. But I want to use different coordinating papers, and then I'm going to use a middle piece because I want this to be a nice sturdy bookmark. I don't want to laminate it. You could laminate it if you wanted to. I don't want to. It's too hot. No thanks. So I'm cutting this piece down to 2x6. And then I've got my little hole puncher. If you don't have that, you can just cut a circle and punch a hole. But I do want to make sure that those little holes that I make in there are nice and reinforced. And so I'm punching out a couple of these reinforcers. Friends, if you don't have punches, I'm telling you. So I'm going to round the bottom corners at the 7mm mark. And then I'll use my other punch to make the fancy top corners. Love that thing. So we'll make that one there and get those little fancy top corners. And I'm just doing the same thing to all 3 pieces. Nothing fancy, nothing hard. And then I'm going to glue all 3 together so that the side that I want to show is sticking out front and back. So, and this is also a great way to be able to utilize both sides of your paper. Well, if you're using the same paper anyway. I'm losing the other side of these papers, but I wanted these 2 to go together. They just coordinate nicely. I'm just going to kind of smooth that out, make sure it's on there nice and straight. And then I'll go ahead and glue down the front. This is going to be the front. Well, maybe it's, who knows, it's your bookmark. It could be the back if you want. We'll get those 2 glued together. So, as I mentioned before, this is a hop. I have the hop playlist in the description box below. I have links to everything that I've used here that I have links to. And it is a giveaway hop, so definitely you can hop along and go ahead and click that link in each stop along the hop and have another chance to win a $25 gift card from the Not Too Shabby Shop. So I punched my hole right in the middle, and then I'm just using my glue and gluing down my reinforcers, and we'll set that aside and we'll get busy with our shrink plastic. So the one thing I want to say about shrink plastic is you need to use Stays-On. Okay, nothing else will really dry on it very well. And so, and this is a scrap from another piece that I did my test charm on. And I've got a sticky mat in my Misty, so this is going to stick pretty easily, but with a brand new stamp, they will stick to that shrink plastic like nobody's business. So I'm going to grab the little cow with the guitar, little Highland cow with the guitar, and I'm going to grab the little lassoed heart. And I'm going to stamp those both down. And I'm trying to decide if I want to go with the music, and I think I'm not going to because it's going to shrink down too small. You might not be able to tell what it is. This is one thing I like to do with bigger stamps, is shrink them. So I'm going to go ahead and I want to ink this really well, because also with Stays-On in a situation like this, sometimes if you stamp a second time, instead of stamping down more ink, it lifts. And so you want to make sure you get it good the first time. And on the shrink plastic, just remember that everything's going to shrink. So if it's, as long as you can see all the lines, you're good to go. So the way I clean mine is I spray it with alcohol first, I wipe it off, and then I clean it off with water, just to make sure that alcohol doesn't damage my stamp. In the years that I've been stamping, I haven't had that problem. Now I'm going to color this, and I'm going to color it with my alcohol markers, and that's about the only thing that works on this as well. And so I do have my coloring way sped up, just so that we don't spend the whole video, an hour and a half, watching me color. It didn't really take me that long, but because I'm not trying to do shading or anything else, I'm just trying to fill it all in. And the thing with alcohol markers on the shrink plastic is if you go over and over again, it also lifts instead of staying down. So you want to just kind of keep your pen moving pretty quickly. And just fill in the colors. And the other thing is the colors will intensify once you shrink this down. I don't know why that happens, but it happens. And you'll see. So I'm going to fussy cut this. And notice I created my own little loop at the top where I'm going to want to punch my hole, because I want to hang this and I don't want to interrupt any part of my stamp. So I've punched my holes, and now we're going to go through the shrinking process. I've got my little acrylic block ready. I've got my heat tool, want to make sure it's hot, and then I have this little tool. And what this little tool does is it just kind of helps keep it from flying away. You don't need it. You can do it without. But since I have it, I use it. And then once it's all shrunk in nice and flat, then you just go ahead and press down with your acrylic block, and that's that. It's done. So super, super easy and really fun too. It's like being a little kid again, playing with Shrinky Dinks. And we'll get that flattened down, and then those are ready to go. And we can put our bookmark together. So I just want to show you this against something white so you can see how the colors had intensified. I probably could have gone a little lighter with them, but that's okay. So I'm going to grab one of these pink tassels, and I got those on Amazon. And then I've got some jump rings here. And I'm going to take one of the larger jump rings, and I'm going to put it through the section that wraps around. So right through this section right here. And I struggle with it a little. I've got my little plier tools here, and they just don't want to hold it the way I want to hold it. So I'm just going to do it by hand. Here we go. Just trying to force it through that little, like that. Okay. And then I'm going to add jump rings to the little lassoed heart, and I'm going to do a couple of them on there. I want it to dangle a little bit. And just make sure you tighten them back up. And I had a mishap with this one where I didn't tighten the one that's around the tassel tight enough, and it comes off, and I just went ahead and just erased that whole part because it was a little bit of a struggle. Hey, but this would make a great gift, and you could, there's enough leftover paper, you could make a card and a tag and a couple of tags, whatever you want with them. But for today, since this is a hop, I'm trying to keep it as short as possible without jipping you out of any good stuff. So there's our tassel with our little charms on it, and here's where I'm going to cut parts out. Boom, there it is. It's on. Everything fell off. I had to do it over. Never mind. And so what I want to do here, and let me just get this against a white piece of paper so you can see it on film. I want to just put a little touch of glue. I'm going to loosen this up a little, put a little touch of glue right there, and then pull it tight, and then just set it aside and let it dry while I stamp out my sentiment. And again, I want to keep this flat. The sentiment would look super cute popped up, but it's going in a book, so we really want to keep a bookmark relatively flat so it doesn't fall out of the book. So I've got the Yeehaw, and I picked this really beautiful pink paper here. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp that down. Let me just trim a piece off here. And I probably trimmed off way more than I needed to, but sometimes my eyes are bigger than my project. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that with Stays On as well. That way it dries quickly and won't smear on me while I'm trying to fussy cut it. And it's nice and dark. So I'll set this aside and not clean it because you've seen me clean. And I'm just going to fussy cut this out. And then I'll glue it on and our bookmark will be done. And I'll show you what it looks like in the still photos, you know, with like a book. Actually, one of my journals, but yeah. Okay, so, and I'm just going to put that little catty corner, glue it flat down on there, and this will be done. I want to thank you so much for stopping by and following along in the hop. Don't forget to leave comments and leave everybody a little bit of loving. And we also have an Instagram hop, so check us out. And here are the still photos. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, consider subscribing. Take care. Bye-bye.